It is Thursday, the 7th of September 2023. A warm welcome to the channel. What you have just seen there is a policeman, you could say, telling this transgender person to, if you want to do that, do it at home, don't do it in public. China, for me, sometimes is really behind the times in a way. I remember when I was in university, I was working in a wine bar, cleaning the plates, and there was one waitress there who had married a black guy. This is in the 1980s, and that was so controversial at the time. And even being homosexual or lesbian at that time was sort of weird. I said, ooh, don't know if I can talk to you like that. But now it's common. China is still really far behind the times. I have had a friend in Shanghai who was a lesbian. She was a professor in a university, maybe about 5 or 6 years ago. But you could say Shanghai is more of a cosmopolitan society. She was an amazing person. And I think, like most people in the world, we don't really care what your sexual preference is. If you are, that's fine. What I am, it's fine. But it's so behind the times sometimes in rural areas or cities which are not so cosmopolitan, for example, like Wuhan, for example. And some people on Twitter, or X as it's called now, would actually say it's wrong to be this. And they would even laugh at it. It's just behind the times. Come on, China, be up to date. In other news, which I can't confirm at the moment, is that there are some videos like this you can see on the screen of some military movement. Now, people are saying this is in Xiamen, which is very close to the island or the country of Taiwan. This seems to happen quite often. I can't verify it, but it's here and it's there. Continuing with news in China, TOEFL dredge buildings have come up again, and we can show you the evidence for a moment or two. Over the last week or so, there have been the typhoons, there have been the storms, there has been heavy rain, especially in the southeast of China, in places like Hong Kong, places like, I'm trying to think of it now, Guangzhou and Shenzhen, example. Here is a news report from different parts of China related to the aftermath of these storms. We see this every year, but it doesn't seem to get any better. Two more pieces of news to get to. You may have noticed the launch of the Huawei P60 Mate Pro, this brand new phone which was created in China. They're saying without the silicon chips or the semiconductors or the chips that usually make a phone. And they're saying this is the best phone ever. Now, there have been some reports so far, but not from professionals, related to the benchmarks of this and how good is this chip or the chips inside the mobile phone. They're showing all wonderful things, that you can use it underwater. Hey, so what? You can use any phone underwater, near enough. And even some people have taken the phone apart and saying, yeah, this is all made in China. But these, we haven't had any professional report related to it. I would like to see if the chips are really from China, made in China. Some people saying they are stockpiled chips from Taiwan, who's the biggest and the leader of semiconductors near enough in the whole world, and some people saying this P60 is like a 3-year-old phone. But we need verification on that. And the final piece of news I would like to share with you today, unemployment in China. They say it's at 21%. That's a bucket load of people there. And they haven't really, or some experts are saying that it hasn't really caught up with after the COVID. China was one of the last countries to open up to after the COVID situation from 2020 to near enough that the end of last year. And it's very difficult for students to get a job, even with a master's. I saw one video the other day related to a master's who was a delivery boy, one of these people who delivers food to you, so you don't need to go to the restaurant and pick it up yourself. He earns maybe something like $1,500 per month, which is actually quite a good salary, but Shanghai is not a cheap place to live. There's one graph there. Another one says, China's young people can't find jobs. Xi Jinping says to eat bitterness. With youth unemployment at the record, the Communist Party is trying to reset expectations about social mobility and talking up the virtue of hardship. Okay, for me, even if you got your PhD, work is work, and you will find it in the end. You just have to be patient. And the way you're going to find this job is not by applying by email, it's actually going to the actual company. One more, China suspends report on youth unemployment, which was at a record high. And you can see there at the bottom, it says 21.3%. So how many graduates each year? Last year, or when was this come out? In 2021, they said 8.3 million students graduated. This year, I think it's 7.7 million graduates, and they're all fighting for a job, and whether they're going to continue their education to a master's or to a PhD, or they're just going to be an undergraduate. Obviously, if you get your master's, you're going to get hopefully a better job, but it's not easy to find it. But their method of finding that job is sort of like going to job fairs. They're going to write emails to companies. What they need to do is go, like in the old days, and possibly like you and I used to do, is with your CV, your curriculum vitae, your resume, go to the big companies and say, can I hand this into human resources, into HR? And then when a job does come available, they will think of you more than the other people, because the emails, they're not going to read every single email, to be honest with you. Come on, let's face facts. But what they are going to do is remember you, because you made an effort to go there.